Happy Father's Day, everybody. I'm going to share with you the #1 draft secret tip strategy to help you crush fantasy football 2025. Massive episode. Now, nobody is doing this. Nobody's talking about it. How do I know? Because I live and breathe this. I've been doing it for years. I'm doing a ton of best ball drafts, and I haven't seen anybody implement this strategy. And that's how you win, because you go away from the herd. If they're going this way, you go this way. When they zig, you zag. So I'm ready to share this amazing tip, but there's a lot of context to it. So you got to listen, pay attention, and implement this stuff. And I'm explaining to you why this is going to work. If you want to win your leagues, this is the video. This is the place, the channel. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the bell. It takes a second of your time, and drop a comment below. Make sure you guys do grab the 16-round draft solution as well. It will put you light years ahead of the sheep. Grab it below. Special discount today, 24 hours. The code is FATHER. Saves you 35%. And I'm handing you the championship on a silver platter. Principal cheat sheet updated till the season starts. Full mock drafts, sleepers, breakouts, late round steals. Absolute ironclad roster. Grab 60 rounds. Use code FATHER to save. Now, I want to just get into a quick story here. Father's Day means an absolute lot to me, okay? 10 years ago, I was in my house, I was cleaning, I was living on my own, and I got the most dreaded phone call you could ever receive, and that was that my father had passed away. We got the call. It was my sister calling. He had been mowing the lawn. He was 68 years old, relatively healthy. He wasn't like out of shape or anything, but I think he was just neglecting signs that his body was telling him, you know, you got to fix this. Your heart's not right. Something's not right. So he had fallen mowing the lawn. And I got the call. And at that point, when I got there, they'd taken him to the hospital. We don't know how long he was laying down because my sister came there to see him laying there. They had basically gone out shopping and he was there. So nobody came to save him, nothing like that. So we got there. We don't know how long he was there. Got to the hospital, was revived temporarily. This was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then by 3 a.m., he had passed away. So very hard for me because him and I grew up watching sports, but it's been a motivation, a drive for me to become a better father, become a great father, and spend that time with the kids. So again, very emotional day for me. Appreciate your parents. Appreciate the fathers in this world. They don't get as much credit as they deserve. We're grinding, we're shopping, we're paying bills, we're doing a lot of stuff. So fathers, I think, are a little underrated in today's society. I think the Texans, the Titans did a post really just kind of condescending to fathers. Yeah, basically, let me put that up here. I'm going to put it up here in post so you guys can see the post. And basically, this right here was put up and then taken down. The Titans basically honoring mothers and then basically kind of condescending to fathers. But there it is right there. Take a look at it. Give it a quick read. They got taken down later because of a lot of people saying that was disrespectful. But anyway, I don't want to go off too much on a tangent. I just want to share my story with you guys. But bottom line is, be grateful, appreciate the father in your life, and go out there and have a great day, okay? So let's get to this #1 tip here. What is it? What is the #1 tip? And drop a comment below. Let me know where you guys are from, what you guys are doing on Father's Day. Let me know, okay? So I'm going to explain the tip, but let me give you context on why. And don't just say, okay, I got the tip and I'm out of here, okay? Here's the tip, okay? #1 draft tip that you need to do. All you need to do is basically nail, not even do, all you need to do is nail 2 breakout wide receivers later. That's it. That's a tip. Now, let me give you guys some context. I've told you, I've been doing a ton of best ball. I've been going very heavy RB early, and I'm still able to get a ton of wide receiver ones after round 6 or 7. And I'm like last year, I'll give you a quick example. This is proof of concept. Last year, everyone was crazy. Like, your main wide receivers are Lad McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., I had Keon Coleman in the mix. I had a bunch of other wide receivers. How could you do that? Well, earlier on, I went Josh Allen. I secured an ace quarterback. I was able to secure Henry. I was able to secure Barkley. My team looked great. I didn't waste a pick on tight end. I was able to get McConkey and Brian. But why did I choose those guys specifically? I chose those guys specifically because I looked at the situation. I looked at the scenario. I looked at the depth chart. I saw that the barrier for them to become wide receiver 1 wasn't very strong to get. Like, it wasn't hard to get to wide receiver 1. I saw the opportunity. I saw Ladd was by default going to be the one. And I saw the talent in Brian Thomas Jr. They really just didn't have anybody else. So I was like, man, this is a perfect opportunity. And I stacked a bunch of wide receivers that I did my research on and felt were going to be wide receiver ones. And guess what? I'm doing it again. Now, at the end of this video, real quick, I'm going to give you a guy that I'm stacking on all my teams as part of this combo. Now, you only need to fill typically 2 wide receiver slots. Some have 3 wide receiver spots, but you're still going to draft enough wide receivers later that's going to cover that. Now, if you want to feel warm and fuzzy and grab yourself a Calvin Ridley round 5 or like a Cortland Sutton who's typically coming off like round 4 or something like that, you could do that. Those guys are safer, right? In theory, safer. But nobody's really safe. Last year, was Tyreek Hill safe? Not really. There's a ton of wide receivers that are drafted, Puka Nacua, right? Last year, that are drafted early and just completely bust. Another quick example, T. Higgins, right? 2 years ago, second round pick, bust. We're talking Deebo Samuel and Ayuk, drafted in round 3 last year, busted. I told you that they would bust. The same type of thing is happening right now. We got guys like Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. Nobody knows who the one is. They spread the ball around. Maybe it could be Rice. Maybe he has a good year. Maybe he gets suspended. We don't know. He's got a suspension looming. Xavier Worthy, I think he's more of a one-trick pony type guy, right? Speedster, gets some stuff done. Maybe catches a deep ball here and there. But whatever you want to say about these guys, it's just I think they're in a committee there in KC and they're being drafted early. T. Higgins round 2, late round 2, early round 3. Ludicrous. You're basically getting the wide receiver too. So you got to start thinking to yourself, I can get a guy who's a wide receiver 2 all day after the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 13th, 14th round, right? I can get these guys. Why would I spend a second round pick on Higgins when I can get, for example, here's a bonus one for you, okay? A Dante Thornton, round 18 or with my last pick, who could make a case. He's playing with the first team reps right now, first team snaps, like first team offense. He's playing with them, and he could be a physical monster. And I could get him with my last pick, who was a wide receiver too. I was saying, well, Joe, T. Higgins is kind of a guaranteed thing. I get my 109 targets. I'm good. Yeah, but it's a second round pick. You could be securing a workhorse running back that's guaranteed 300 rushing attempts, pretty much. I mean, there's no guarantees, but you're pretty much securing a guy that's going to be like a Kyron Williams, for example, instead of a T. Higgins. So let's get back to the point here. Let me tell you why this works, okay? So all you need to do is just nail 2 wide receivers. So after you go workhorse running backs, maybe you get an ace quarterback, then you start stack a bunch of wide receivers in good positions. Who are these wide receivers? I'm going to give you one right now. But you got to get 16 rounds because I actually walk you through how to actually create this roster. So not just stacking wide receivers. You got to make sure it's the right wide receivers, but you got to make sure you're balanced. You got to make sure quarterback, I'm covered. Okay. Defense, I'm covered. I got a good defense, good matchups this week, and maybe I can back them up on my bench. Get 2 top 10 defenses if you have time, right? Making sure later you got those sleepers that are in a position like a Dante Thornton or a Jack Beck. And that's the thing. Nobody's even talking about Jack Besh or whatever you want to call him, Bech. Nobody's talking about these guys. It's like, are we just going to forget Geno Smith can throw the ball and just forget completely about the Raiders and just everybody just draft Brock Bowers because he finished on top last year, not accounting for the fact that it's an entirely new offense, more checkdowns, more receptions for Genty, new wide receivers? Like, are you crazy? Like, how are we not talking about the wide receivers on the Raiders? I don't trust Jacoby Myers. I think either Beck or Thornton come in and take the job. I can get both those guys later. You understand? It's like, you got to be able to see the opportunity. Don't just go for the name. Don't just be like, oh, I know T. Higgins. He's coming off round 2 and everybody else is drafting him round 2. So I got to draft T. Higgins round 2. Don't do it. Do not do this. Look for the value later that's high on the depth chart and you will win. And again, going to this tip, all you need to do is really nail 2 wide receiver breakouts. And you could draft 7 that are in a great position. And all you need to nail is 2. And you don't even have to really nail them. As long as they're giving you 15 points, you got those positions covered because you're covered at every other position. You got your ace quarterback, you got your workhorse running backs. If you have no concerns at the running back position in your fantasy football year, you are rock solid because that position is so scarce and so hard to find and so hard to maximize because of these committees. You want to get max points out of that running back slot, out of those 2 running back slots. And hey, if you got 4 good running backs in the early rounds, which aren't going to be available after round 4, you can super flex if that's available, those other running backs in those other slots, okay? In the flex spots even, okay? So that is my tip. Just nail 2 breakout wide receivers later. Essentially what I'm saying is you can wait on wide receiver. Do not hesitate to grab those scarce running backs early because there is a ton of depth. Now, who is a good example of a breakout wide receiver and why? The guy that I have on all my rosters is one of the guys that I'm stacking. And I gave you a Thornton guy, Dante Thornton, as a bonus. But the guy I've got on all my teams, and he's on the cover of this art here, is Trey Harris. Why do I love Trey Harris? Because I know the Chargers, for a fact, did everything they could to avoid having the mistake of drafting another Quentin Johnson. They did everything to mitigate that risk and grab an ex-receiver with great hands who's a clutch player, who's strong after the catch, in Trey Harris. Trey Harris goes into a position where he automatically, by default, becomes the wide receiver 1. Now, you can say Ladd McConkey, but listen, Ladd McConkey's a smaller slot guy who, by default, last year became the 1 because there was nobody else there. They drafted Trey Harris with purpose to take over that role that Keenan Allen had, which was the guy that got a ton of volume, the true 1 to Justin Herbert. So, what I say to you, and you can get this guy if you want him as early as I say at the time of this recording, round 9, but he could fall even later, but just don't miss out on him, okay? I'm telling you right now, I would rather have Trey Harris round 9 over Ladd McConkey round 2, 100 out of 100 times. Like, there's not a time or a scenario this year where I would draft McConkey this year knowing that Trey Harris is a value, it could take that wide receiver 1 spot. I wouldn't do it. Harris, even if Harris busts, I will live with no regrets knowing that I went with the best possible player for the best possible value, and that I could sleep well at night. I didn't pay a second round pick, and I've secured the best possible player in round 2 and not worry about another wide receiver potentially taking that job. Does that make sense? So the number 1 draft tip is nail 2 breakout wide receivers later. Do not invest the early draft capital on those receivers early. Now, if you want to get a Malik Neighbors round 1 and then do a run of running backs, there's still talent at running backs this year. There's RJ Harvey, there's Hampton, there's Caleb Johnson, there's other great running backs that are going to break out. You could do that, but I'm saying you can still go running back and you'll still be fine. Maybe get a Josh Allen round 2, something like that. Okay, so if you want the full strategy, grab the 16-round draft solution. I've linked it below. Today's special deal, use code FATHER, all right? Have yourself an outstanding Father's Day. Enjoy the day, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, no matter where you're watching it. Drop it below. Where are you guys watching it? What are you guys doing today? Love to hear your father stories. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.